In the western Algarve region of southern Portugal, a growing community of land stewards is coming together to support each other and increase the scale and effectiveness of ecosystem restoration efforts. The goal of this collaboration is to improve soil quality, water availability, biodiversity, and local livelihoods in the bioregion. This series highlights the people, places, and actions restoring the ecological, social, and economic health of our ecosystem. Join us on a journey through this place we call home and discover the regeneration stories unfolding here.
You know, this place, Quinta Valdelhama, it was on the facade of one of the ruined buildings, one of the first buildings we restored. So yeah, this farm has a long history going back. And the sense of it, I remember when I first, a realtor showed me to the property, and it was mud everywhere. And I thought, oh, how appropriate, Quinta Valdelhama, which means literally, mud valley farm. Now, over the years, this place has become increasingly, the major challenge that we face climatically, it's encroaching desertification. So at this point, it's more of an aspirational name. But before, it used to cause extreme erosion. We have very little topsoil. The farm was ever overgrazed and desertified. And with the work that we've been doing since the early 2000s, it's much more lush. The rain, when it falls, stays. Yeah, this is what's interesting. So still, I feel that name is so appropriate for this plant. The regenerative mindset and mission that really, it came on me as an evolutionary sort of thing. I mean, I came here as an American businessman, expat, with a nest egg that I invested in this piece of land. But I'd never been a farmer, or I would say very grounded or earthy kind of person. That's not where I was coming from. It's a mission that came to me. I don't feel like I sought it out, but it's like, well, this is a farm. We're going to be a real farm. We're going to grow food here and regenerate this kind of played out, deserted ecosystem. The first thing we did was build the summer camp, Camp do Val. Wife Nita, my co-partner in this venture, she was a summer camp coordinator where we lived in Canada, and she started summer camps in Portugal back in 1994. Summer camps are a thing for a few weeks in the summer, and it was, what are you going to do the rest of the year? We had these facilities, and a friend had introduced me to someone, a permaculture teacher, Leslie Martin, who was, I think, the first permaculture teacher in Portugal, and still has been running PDCs here. It was like 2008-09, we had our first PDC here with Leslie. Yeah, 2011 is when things really got going here. Fundamentally, from the very beginning, it's a matter of people and their energy that they bring to the project and their inspiration. And through the Associação Novas Descobertas, there have been so many thousands of people passing through. But there's been an increasingly local dynamic here, which is, I think, really important. People need to connect to the place, developing that sense of place and care for the place where they are. There's the opportunity for locals to come that want to get their hands dirty and learn a little bit about farming or ecosystem restoration. They have that opportunity, and that's proving quite popular. And then on a more or less monthly basis, there are these sábados na quinta, Saturdays on the farm, where for a whole afternoon, sometimes into the evening, there will be a theme, whether it's local archaeology or soil or water. There's a farm tour. And we're able to show them all the different microclimates around the farm and different operations on the farm. And there's just so many stories of people that have learned things that they've gone and applied in their own context. We always aim to inspire as well as inform, and to get feedback from them. We're learning in this complex, open ecosystem that is, the world that we inhabit. Things are changing very fast. There's so many good, fortunately, mostly younger people. There's a lot of youthful energy here that's making a difference, that's making it work. So I think we've become something of a reference project within the area that has touched many people, many lives, and people of all walks, all ages, and it's gratifying. We look at it in terms of 3 different zones: the hat, the belt, the shoes. Now, starting at the bottom, the shoes, the lowlands, the flat area. There's a carve out of about 1.5 hectares, I think, for the association, Associação Novas Descobertas, kind of the gathering space for community within the farm, educational events. It has connected to it some interesting ecological features, temporary natural ponds. Then above the public road, the municipal road, we get into the belt zone of the farm. That's our more bio-intense. That's where we have 2 different organic market garden zones. That's where our orchards are, our organic vineyards. There's a dry land agroforestry experiment going on. There's a syntropic food forest. This is the zone also of our fertility zone, where we convert all the organic residues of the farm into good compost and living soil, which is kind of the key to success of our agriculture here. That is also where we have located our soil lab, which is really studying the microbiology in the soil and how it all works together. That's the belt of the farm. Then above the canal is where the land slopes up more steeply. It's a dry land, non-irrigated zone. First of all, the Mud Valley Institute, which is studying these issues of regeneration. It's a space for action research and work with the community. We have Casa Valdalama there, which is the economic engine of the farm. It's a hotel, restaurant, dedicated to regenerative tourism. It has orange orchards connected to it, it's an important part of the agricultural heritage here. And this is also the zone where we have Lama Village, which is the home of our live-in staff and our 6-month interns. But around these urban zones, we have the extensive Mediterranean dry fruits. Well, essentially that's the shape of the land. Soil is the key. I mean, this is a terrestrial ecosystem essentially, where all the life is supported by this very thin layer of topsoil that we have to preserve and build. Vermicomposting has become a very important. I would say that's the preeminent. Worms do so much of the work here. While we have different animals on the farm that are contributing to the soil with their manure and grazing and trampling it in, the donkeys, the sheep, the chickens, it's actually the worms that do most of the soil building up the carbon content of the soil. And this has become an important metric here. Through the Mud Valley Institute, its operation of the soil lab, we're becoming much more sensitized to what is the carbon content of our soil. And these are key metrics that we're using to measure the development of our soil. Generally speaking, we've gone through a succession of really dry years here. Water is the problem. Yet, much of the farm borders on the Ribeira do Riacho, which the Rio de Alvor is right there. It's like water everywhere, but not a drop to drink. The Barragem de Bravura, the Bravura Dam, is just uphill 10 kilometers or so, and the canal from there runs directly through the farm. It's rainwater essentially, and we used to use that water for irrigation. But for 2 years running, there was no water coming from the dam. Last year was very little. We had to shift largely to using pumped groundwater, which is becoming increasingly saline, which is a problem for agriculture. Every single drop of water that falls on the farm needs to stay on the farm, be reused as much as possible. Closing the open loop of the water cycle here is key. My focus has been to bring the agriculture up to kind of balance the tourism still. It's agriculture with a small a, economically speaking. It'll never be a profit center. And tourism with a big T in economic terms that really pays the freight. But it's a different kind of tourism that we practice here, regenerative tourism. Despite that inevitable ecological and sociological footprint, which we try to maintain within its bounds, you can have a regenerative handprint that is even greater. So ecologically, I mean, our footprint of this 2,000 square meters of touristic establishment here, in the context of this 43-hectare farm, it's relatively quite small. And given all the regenerative initiatives going on here on the ground, yeah, I think it's safe to say that the regenerative impact is greater than the ecological footprint. But generally speaking, our approach is let's value the local, let's attract a brand of tourists that really cares to be engaged in the local socio-economic culture as well as the ecology, that they patronize the local businesses, that they value the local cultural exchange, and overall that this can be enriching. Generally, I think our impact is regenerative in all these senses. And that becomes a passion. Once it's bitten you, it's very difficult to shake it. I mean, I don't want to. It's a way of life.